Welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with Ryan Zipp, where each week I will be talking about what makes this historic region such an amazing place to enjoy. From the scenic views to road trip ideas to where to grab the best eats and much more. Let's get going. Hello and welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with me, Ryan Zipp. Today is not only episode 31 of the podcast, but it will also be the last episode of, I don't know if you'd call it season 1 or whatever, it ends up being here. But this is going to be my last episode for now. So I think I, talked about it the last few weeks, definitely last week, kind of let everybody know. But, things get real busy for me now between trips, chasing foliage, and also getting ready for the holidays at my store that I run and own here in Connecticut. So, it just kind of felt right, like it was the time. And, like I said earlier in previous episode, I never exactly knew what was going to happen with this or how long I would do it for. They say, if you make it 5 episodes, you're doing better than most, kept it going. First episode was back in March, I think like mid-March, third week in March. Then, I read that only 1% of podcasts make it to episode 21, and we did that and we passed by it. And, we made it to 31 here. So, just really, proud that was able to do this and, just kind of jump in, having never done it before. And, I can't thank you guys enough for checking in every week, whether you listen on one of the audio podcast channels or watch the video version on YouTube. But, it's been a lot of fun and really enjoyed sharing my photo adventures with everybody, giving ideas for where you could go. Always the spots to grab food, coffee, adult beverages, all of those things. So, it's kind of just been something that comes natural, as these are things I do, a good chunk of the free time I have every month already, and truly what brings me joy. Coming home with the photos is obviously an added bonus, but the whole experience I've really learned how to appreciate and not take it for granted. It's been a super busy summer, and fall's picked up right there. And, last when I checked in, I had been up for the first 2 weekends of fall up in northern Vermont, mostly in the Northeast Kingdom. It's kind of where we left off last time. And then before I got on the road again, last Thursday night, the night of when the last podcast episode came out, we had a pretty crazy Northern Lights event here in not only New England, pretty much everywhere. I'm sure most of you guys listening, watching, either saw it yourself, got photos yourself, saw friends and family posting it. It was one of those events where I don't know if we've ever seen it like that strong in, especially where I am in coastal Connecticut, southern Connecticut. Back in May, it was pretty crazy that we were able to see it here, get some photos of it, but this time it was stronger. And so I was excited for it. It had been, I forget what number time this is for me now getting to capture them, including the first time in Iceland back in 2019. But, having so many people who have always asked me about it and, what's going on, if there's reports coming up. So pretty much all those people were able to go out and experience it, get photos of it. So to me, that was one of the most exciting parts, was just seeing everybody else get to enjoy it. And obviously I did as well. We had seen on Thursday, the activity levels were like through the roof, but it was like 3, 4, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, which means it's sun's still out. It's way too bright to even see what's going on with it. So the levels were just like off the charts, and obviously hoping they would continue once it actually got dark enough to go out and enjoy it. So, by like 6:30, I was all ready to go, gear packed. I had a little, with me, I photographed them before, and like with some of my other whether it's sunsets, the moon rises, different Milky Way. I always like to find something interesting, unique in the composition. So instead of just kind of staying in one spot, of course, I was ambitious, had a list of barns that I've photographed or seen before within like 20 or so minutes of me, not far from each other. So I kind of figured I would hit those up pretty quick, try to get different scenes with them going on. So yeah, a little before 7, left my house ready to go as it was like dusk. It was starting to get dark. And I was driving down a road to the first stop, and neighborhood, not super bright, but I look to my left and I just see like the sky glowing pink, like naked eye, which was the strongest I've ever seen them, with my eyes without, using a phone or a camera. So just to see that was unbelievable. So I made sure to let my parents know it was going on. Was trying to text anybody else who have been asking me or people close to me that like get out there now and just look. You could see it naked eye, obviously get some photos, but it was pretty incredible. And it's one of those things you're not sure if it's ever going to be to that level again, especially down as far south here. So I was glad to take advantage of it and appreciate it. But I was able to get to my first spot, a barn in Durham, Connecticut, not far from me. I photographed the full moon rising there a handful of years ago from the opposite side down the other street. But, the lights were going crazy when I got there. That was the first stop. So got set up really quick, fired off some different compositions. It was unbelievable. And luckily off the bat, it was kind of exactly what I had planned in my head. So it doesn't always work out like that. Then I got moving quick to another barn in Wallingford, and it was still going on a little bit, but kind of died down a bit. So, I was able to get to another spot in Northford, and then it was definitely like a lull. There was some moments of some activity, some pink, but not the crazy glow that was like that first half hour or so. Then saw some greens. There was periods where it was, just not quite so active. Decided to come back home. And of course, like right as I was coming back home, started up again. At that point, I was tired, knew I'd be working and leaving the next day. So I just went down to the lake by my house here in Guilford. Was going again. The sky was just like solid pink. And some of my neighbors, some people were having a bonfire down there, little beach by the lake for our association. So it's cool to hang out. They were getting to enjoy it too, having a fire. I got some shots of actually people around the fire with the lights in the sky behind it. Another few shots there. So it was awesome. Definitely grateful to have a second time capturing them right in, Guilford, Brantford, Durham, the area right by my house, which is just insane to think about. Typically you had to be more northern New England, obviously up in Canada, Iceland, Norway, etc. So, twice in the last 5 months to get them right in my hometown area is pretty amazing. So was grateful for that. And obviously, if you're watching the YouTube version here, I'll be popping up some photos. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you saw all my posts and stories of it. So that was a great way to kind of end the week before I would be heading up north to Vermont again. Ended up actually heading up Friday night. Had the opportunity to have an amazing house in Plymouth for 3 nights. So my buddy Brandon and I went up, one of my fellow photographer buddies. We used to do a lot of trips together, groups of us sometimes, up to 4 or 5 of us at a time. Just over the last handful of years, haven't been able to do those as much. Things change. People have kids and, get busy and such, get married, move. So it was good to get like a, kind of like a bros photo trip in again, and definitely take advantage of this amazing house we had for the weekend. So that was up in Plymouth. Got up there Friday night when it was dark. About a 10-minute drive from there, Plymouth area, to Ludlow, where Okemo is. And not much open because it was kind of late by the time we got out there, but we did, what was the spot? Off the Rails. That was the spot we went to the first night. So like a bar, pub, restaurant. The kitchen was open a little bit later. They had a band playing. not too loud, so it was nice. Sat at the bar. Definitely a cool vibe, very very low key, which very Vermont, for especially around the ski areas. So that was kind of the way to kick it off. Didn't get to see any foliage. We got in when it was dark. So the next morning was when we had our first view of it, and colors were great coming in, close to peak and peaking in spots. Definitely, I'd say a lot better than last year. Last year was a off year, below average, probably because all the damn rain we had last year. So this year back to, like, I'd say a normal, solid year. Color everywhere. Some spots more vivid than others. Some spots with a little patches, higher elevation. There was some leaves down, but overall, definitely couldn't complain. It was a great weekend. So just did a lot of driving. It was one of those, like, typically I do in Vermont, and so that's what we did. We were able to just do, and for it being peak foliage time, and the holiday weekend, we were able to escape to back roads, dirt roads, and really, besides when we had to eat at points and being in the towns, other than that, we really didn't see many people at all. Just some locals, obviously, going about their normal day. But it was nice. Weren't close. We were close to Woodstock, but been there before in fall. Other times of year, I love it, but I wasn't going anywhere near that during the holiday weekend. I heard there was just traffic everywhere and people all over, so avoided that. The White Mountains is another area, New Hampshire, that I've gone to a number of times now for this same time period. Color's amazing, peak foliage, but you have even less roads there, and it's just a shit show, so to speak, with people, and even there in some of the towns, trying to get dinner is just a nightmare as well. So made the right choice. The Plymouth area was great. We were able to go about a half hour plus in all directions, and have great towns, and again, just more back roads, which is what I love doing in the fall up there, finding old barns and such. So Saturday, it was the clearest day, so beautiful day. Not that it was warm, but not the best for photography when there's no clouds at all. So again, just kind of drove around and ended up being some scouting, like finding cool locations. Like, all right, we have to come back tomorrow, when hopefully it's overcast, a little more moody, better even lighting. So we made it over to the spot. I think I'd been there one time before a few years ago. I was trying to remember, but over in Brownsville, called the Brownsville Butcher and Pantry. Really cool spot. They actually have a little kind of a mini, I don't want to say grocery store, like kind of market, but like all kinds of different meats and fish, hence the butcher part of it. And but then on the other side, they had a cafe with all breakfast sandwiches, sandwiches for lunch, full on, espresso, all kinds of coffees and teas and everything. So we made it there for lunch that day, and that morning it was kind of a disaster trying to get breakfast in Ludlow. Just not a lot of options, and again, a lot of people for the holiday weekend. So we decided we would, on Sunday morning, we'd cruise over there and do breakfast there instead. And, we ended up doing that. But so that was Saturday. And what else did we do that day? So, yeah. It was a cool thing. So the previous week when I was up in Burke, up in Northeast Kingdom, they do have a road you can drive up pretty much to the top. And have views in a few spots, and it was like, I think $10 a car, which was well worth it. But later in the afternoon on Saturday, we made it over to Okemo, the actual mountain, kind of the resort there, and just started driving just to see what kind of views we can get, and then ended up just being like mountain roads. We kept driving. I think there was like some condos and houses, and obviously different spots for viewing and activities making the way up, but we were able to drive up it. There was no charge or anything, and there was a few spots with some great overlooks. So took advantage of that basically until last light, until kind of it got dark. Then we made it back down. There was a spot there called the Loft Tavern right at the base at Okemo. Really cool spot, like divey bar. All the signs with all like very tongue in cheek, as far as respecting the bartenders and yada yada. Basically, like it's like a seat yourself type situation, and it was just insane there. So ended up jetting out of there. We found this Mexican spot not far, and the food was really good. Wasn't as crazy, so that was I forget the name of it, but it was right there in Ludlow. So Sunday woke up. It was it was supposed to be rainy on and off, but luckily it was more off and a lot of fog. Much more appealing day for photography, which was great. So we ended up driving over to that Brownsville Butcher and Pantry for breakfast and coffee, and was able to just cruise back roads and tons of great scenes. Some we saw the day before, able to actually photograph them this time, and then found some new ones. So that was the perfect day, I'd say. Didn't really rain, but yet we had some great conditions for images. So I already posted a few of them on Instagram. I'll be posting more. Still haven't gone through all of them yet, so make sure to keep checking back on there. That afternoon we made it over right in Plymouth. Is the Calvin Coolidge Historic Site. So he was the 30th president of our country, and he was born 1872 right in Plymouth Notch, I think it said. So the site, where he was born, the homestead, is all preserved. It's a historic site, and there's like a store and old buildings, basically like kind of preserve how things were, 150 years ago, whenever, as far as whenever they date everything there back to. But just really cool to kind of check out. There was like tours going on. I've never done a tour, but I've walked around, kind of peeked into some of the buildings, but didn't do the full-on thing. There's the Plymouth cheese there, which is the oldest cheddar in America. 1890 was when they started. I'd stopped there last year and grabbed a few different cheeses. So stopped in again, got samples always out, and grabbed a few different ones this time. This truffle cheddar, truffle from Italy. It was really good. The other one, I got a smoked cheddar this time. And some of the one from last year I hadn't opened yet. It's in this like thick wax, and it's been in the fridge the whole time. So I just wanted to ask. I was like, "Is it still good?" I remember them saying that helps it last, and she's like, "Oh yeah, still good. It's actually aged now longer, so now your cheese is actually so." I guess not on purpose, but I have even more aged and taste better, hopefully. So now I have 4 different kinds from there to be able to crack open and enjoy. So we'll have to do that soon. Good time coming up when I'll be getting the wood stove going soon in my house, and those dark early days, and I'll be enjoying some of that famous Vermont cheddar. So that was a great little stop. It was nice to do a little touristy thing again, but wasn't crazy at all. And was right in the town where we were staying. So then we'd want to try to get back to the loft to eat, that spot right there at Okemo. So made it back over. It was like close to 4. It was one of those like in between times. So we were able to sit down. Had this chicken wrap with their everything sauce. It's basically like all their wing sauces they throw together. So it was really good. The fries were good, and they had football on too. So it's cool to be able to watch the afternoon games. I am a football fan. Do a lot of fantasy football. Love following it, but I don't sit down and watch the games Sunday typically until we get more into winter, because I'm still traveling on Sundays. So whenever in between I'm able to pop in, watch a little bit. It's always nice. So glad it worked out. And then that was the last night at the spot. So we had 3 nights at the house. Amazing. Part of this Hawk Mountain kind of. There's like a resort. There's like an inn restaurant that's being redone. I guess it'll be next year and a half or so, they're redoing it all. But that whole property, there's like up to a couple hundred privately owned homes, and this was one of them. So really nice spot, and again, it's kind of centrally located. A couple lakes right near there, and you have Killington, like less than 20 minutes north. Okemo, Ludlow, 10 minutes south. You're like 25 minutes from Woodstock. Brownsville was only like 25, 30 minutes away. So Manchester isn't that far from there either. Didn't have time. So definitely a great location to do a home base for fall or any other time of year, really. And if you're a skier, snowboarder, obviously a good spot as well, depending on which one of the mountains you prefer going to. Monday, it was like straight up rainy Monday. Had some patches, but that was the rainiest day, but would start making our way back. So checked out and then kind of made a route kind of going straight down. Stopped in Londonderry. The garden market. It was a really cool spot. They had like a store with a few things. They had cafe, breakfast sandwiches, coffee as well. So we fueled up there and then just kind of made our way back down. And the last town of the trip, my last Vermont visit for the fall, was in the town of Guilford, Vermont. Kind of one of those first ones as you're entering. Same name as the town I live in here in Connecticut, so kind of fitting. So ended the trip and ended my 3 weekends of fall adventuring in Vermont in the town of Guilford, Vermont. And now I'm recording this in the town of Guilford, Connecticut. So, so can't ask for anything better. It was first 3 weekends, all Vermont. And, I try to mix it up. I've been different spots throughout the years, but, like I was said a few times, it's just my favorite kind of exploring. A lot of dirt back roads, barns and churches and mountains in the background. So kind of the perfect quintessential scenes for fall shooting. So now, now I'm back home, and this is going to be the last episode for now. This weekend, I think, unless something changes, I'm planning on staying a little bit local. I haven't slept home on a weekend or not adventured since Labor Day, so it's been a little bit, and I love it, obviously, and I would keep going this weekend if there was really something I had in mind, but I think I'm going to do a few day trips or day trip. Some of the corners of our state here, Litchfield area, the northeast part of the state as well, should be pretty good with color by this weekend. Usually peaks, around now, going by the averages earlier than, when down here does. So looking into that, there's probably still going to be some color in southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire. I'm sure there'll be residual in more central parts, even a little bit left in like Conway area. Right now there's snow on some of the mountains in Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine. People are getting cool shots with the snow up top, foliage down below. Unfortunately, didn't have any chance for that this year. But, if you're looking for some last minute stuff this weekend, Vermont, New Hampshire, coastal Maine is probably really good. Acadia is probably peaking around now. Not that Acadia is really a last minute type trip, but, it looks like basically the rest of Maine, coastal Maine, is kind of, going to be peak coming up. And then next weekend, looking to possibly do something on the coast, maybe Cape Cod. Had fun trying to capture some cranberry bog harvesting last year. See if I can get any different fields or images of it this year. And just love being by the coast there on the Cape. So another kind of off-season visit is always right up my alley. Early November, targeting possibly Boston. I've only been there once so far this year, which is not enough. Not a city person, but I do love it there. Last time I was there was like very end of April, I believe, with the spring blooms. So trying to get back there as well. And then, as far as see what's going on as we get into November a little bit, if there's anything else coastal, local, keep shooting it till all the leaves are down. It's kind of always what I do. So there's definitely more color to be had. Some pretty good, like I said, average to good so far in what I've seen in Vermont and the little bit I dipped into the White Mountains. So hopefully you guys have been getting out exploring a little bit, and there's still time, next like 3 weeks, I say. You could find it as you're working your way down and ending in the coastal areas. So, I'll keep posting on my Instagram as far as favorites from years past and new edits from current trips as well. So make sure you keep check there. Once we get into later November and obviously through Christmas, New Year's, a lot of great spots we have here in New England for checking out the holidays, Christmas vibes. So every year I try to do as many as I can fit in with my busy schedule. Try to mix them up, like, not do the same ones I did last year. Try to get to new ones, but some of my favorites and ones to check out, Kennebunkport, including Cape Porpoise, Maine up there. To me, that's one of the better ones in New England. Algonquin does stuff as well. You can kind of package them together, although sometimes certain towns don't like do certain lighting. So again, you have to check on dates on all these things. When some start at the end of November, some don't do them till second week in December. So definitely check on that. But Newport, Rhode Island, a closer one for me, but that's another spot. There's just tons of spots there all lit up. The surrounding areas as well, Jamestown, and the mansions are all done up as well inside. If you've never done that, it's really cool to see those all decorated. So Kennebunkport with a Gunkwood as well. Newport, Rhode Island, Woodstock, Vermont is another one. They do like a whole weekend with a parade. But that town green there is beautiful all year, but decked all out in lights. The Woodstock Inn downtown there. If you're lucky enough to get snow. Last year I went there. It was after the holidays. It was in January. It was one of the only snowstorms we actually had, and I got some great images. The lights were still up, and it's like being in a snow globe, like Hallmark movie there. All the lights still up on the green. I was there like midnight, 1 a.m. by myself, just snow coming down, and so it's pretty magical. But that's another spot for the holidays. Nantucket was great. They do a stroll there. Again, you have to check on the dates. A whole parade, but I got there after that. But I got there last year for it for the first time. That was awesome. I mean, again, great spot for all year, Nantucket, and done up for the holidays. Boston, like I was saying as well, might try to get back there again for that this year. It didn't work out last year for me, but Boston's got a ton of great things going on. Decorations, Beacon Hill neighborhood is always great. They do it up in every season, but especially during Christmas time. And there's lots of others as well. Those are kind of just the ones that I've been to, and there's just a ton of things to go to enjoy. So, but look around, and I'm sure your local areas have it. Guilford, my town, they do like a tree lighting. They have block one of the streets off. They have all kind of like candles set up. Brantford has a whole parade. Checked that out last year. Stony Creek, one of my favorite local spots to go for sunset and such. They have a whole kind of parade and activities going on. They had a lobster pot tree set up. Anywhere like the Cape Cod is great for the holidays as well. Check on the individual towns. Lobster pot trees everywhere. I'm always on the quest to photograph them all. So start planning those soon. Once I wrap up the planning for fall, I'll be doing those next. And then as we get into, the busy season at my store, the Fat Robin, and that's in Hamden, Connecticut. It's my family-owned business. We've been in business 30 years, and I've been the owner for a little bit now. And it's a wild bird and nature store, so, bird feeders, bird houses, wind chimes, do all binoculars. We have a whole gift room, so there's tons of great stuff in there. If you're in the area, come in, do some shopping, say hi. But we'll be really busy end of November through the holidays are our busiest time of year. So, it's exciting, but I'll also be going nonstop while trying to photograph as well. I also have had a lot of people order my calendar. The orders that were in went out this week, so you'll be getting those soon. If you haven't ordered yet, the link is directly in the bio on my Instagram. Came out really good this year. We got a picture for each month that fits the season and all that and the vibe. 2 images from each of the 6 New England states, and I've been doing these since 2018. So exciting. It's always fun to put together, and appreciate the support from everybody. I also have some holiday like little note card packs with some images from all around. So those are up on my website, the store as well. So I'll be selling those. Might do some new images as well. So again, always appreciate the support. And I have my online print store. So if you're looking for prints for yourself, canvas wraps for gifts, start thinking about it now. Make sure we have enough time to get them together for you. And so it's getting to that time of year. So let's close out fall strong, and then we'll get ready for the holidays. So I'm toasting. I'll have a little drink in honor of the first season of the podcast. Picked this up when I was in Vermont, Little Stowe cider donut. So cheers to you guys. Thank you for your support during this season 1. And keep checking. Follow me on Instagram, and there'll be more content coming out soon. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the fall, and happy holiday season.